Hello you beautiful misfits, my name is Matt and this is Pixel Burn, where I take a snarky look at some of the more important, interesting or irritating things to have happened in the week's gaming news, when I'm not going all in on a single topic like I did in my last video. Hello to all my new subscribers, by the way. This week's episode isn't going to be a single topic affair as such, but it is based around a single theme, because we are less than a month away from E3 2018. And that means a sudden increase in crazy and perhaps not so crazy rumours vomited onto the internet. A proverbial fistful of the highly likely, the not quite so likely, and the outright bollocks. So I figured why not have a look over some of them and see if any have even a sliver of merit or can be tossed into a bin with nary a second thought. Well, one reason not to would be that Walmart Canada went and sucked all the fun out of it. By straight up listing on their store page, minus the box art, a bunch of games for pre-order that hadn't officially been announced yet. These include Just Cause 4, Rage 2, Gears of War 5 and Borderlands 3. The listings have since been deleted and the person responsible, presumably sent to manage a Walmart in Bathurst Inlet, Nunavut, population literally 0. Sure, Walmart are officially blaming a glitch, but come on, you know deep down that's probably some corporate euphemism for any employee who makes a mistake. This is usually the kind of monumentally cyclopean cock-up that has publisher CEOs screaming down the phone at retailer CEOs while members of the publisher's PR department tumble past the office window for an emergency meeting with the ground. But it's not the end of the world. Bethesda's response to this corporate error was to outright mock it without actually denying it, which in this industry is essentially a tacit confirmation. Specifically with this jokey, hahaha, look how utterly wrong this placeholder entry is, blimey isn't that funny, tweet from the official Rage Twitter account, as well as a mock reprimand from the official Bethesda Twitter, which then spent a couple of days hurriedly spamming a bunch of Rage themed pictures with 514 on them to build hype for an official announcement trailer they had primed and ready to release on Monday. Only for a snippet of it to prematurely appear in YouTube pre-roll ads over the weekend, sending Bethesda scrambling to get it taken down. So yeah, we'll be seeing Rage 2 at Bethesda's E3 showcase next month. Bit of an anticlimax, albeit a fucking hilarious one, wrapped up in a comedy of errors. But then Bethesda are saying that this year's showcase will be bigger than last year, so who knows? Maybe they'll surprise us with an announcement for the next instalment of a certain series we've all been holding our breath for. You know the one I mean. Terminator Future Shock 2, mofos! Anyway, that's 1 point for the Walmart accident, as I'm choosing to call it, because the word leak would imply some kind of intent, and why attribute to malice what can equally be explained by stupidity, etc, etc. Meaning a Borderlands 3 reveal with a possible late 2018 release now seems very highly likely and something to look forward to for all the people that loved Borderlands 2. Or Boredomlands 2 as I prefer to call it. Look, I don't think it was terrible, it just didn't keep me interested enough to see it through to the end. But I digress. I personally reckon Borderlands 3 is pretty much outright etched on the E3 show floor with an industrial laser by this point. Gearbox CEO Randy, let's just outsource it and call it a day, Pitchford, practically confirmed as much at last year's PAX West. Meanwhile, despite its appearance on the Walmart accident, anything significant of the Final Fantasy VII remake popping up at E3 doesn't seem quite so certain. All we've really seen in the actual game so far is a bunch of pretty cinematics with a pinch of something like gameplay, and the official Square Enix position on whether it's an episodic affair or a full release seemingly changes whenever I blink. On top of that, Square Enix were advertising for Battle Planner and Level Planner positions on the project, yes they mentioned it by name, as recently as March. So I'm going to go ahead right now and say I doubt we'll see anything substantial of it within a mere month from now. We're far more likely to get some concrete details on Kingdom Hearts 3, and that one wasn't even on the list. The entry for Assassin's Creed No Subtitle meanwhile probably isn't anything new or mind-blowing. Assassin's Creed Origins, legit one of my favourite games of 2017, only came out about 7 months ago, with the last of the 2 big story DLCs being released barely 2 months ago. Yes, Ubisoft used to crank out Assassin's Creed titles on a yearly basis once upon a time, but showing anything substantial from a sequel to Origins this soon? That's ridiculous even by Ubisoft standards. Plus, when they stopped churning them out on a yearly basis, we got a really good instalment as a result. My money would be on a very brief announcement of an Assassin's Creed Origins Game of the Year edition with the Hidden Ones and Curse of the Pharaohs DLC included. At a stretch we might get a title for the next one and possibly some Greco-Roman themed concept art, but I'm not holding my breath. Far more likely is this mention of Splinter Cell being a new installment or perhaps some kind of reboot. More so in fact, given that Splinter Cell mission they added to Ghost Recon Wildlands recently, which wouldn't be the first time Ubisoft's teased a new game within an existing one. If you'd like to see what other games were on the Walmart list, then you can either Google around for it, it's really not that hard to find, or you can pause this video in about 1 second. Other games we can expect to see include the fair number we already know to have been confirmed, like The Division 2, COD Blops 1111, another Battlefield, your annual Maddens and FIFAs, Smash Brothers on the Switch, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. No, you weren't experiencing the Mandela effect there. Believe it or not, despite the amount of coverage, press materials, first impressions, and other bits about the game doing the rounds right now, Shadow of the Tomb Raider isn't actually out yet. Although you could easily be forgiven for thinking that. Sony meanwhile have straight up said they'll only be concentrating on 4 games at their press event: The Last of Us 2, Marvel's Spider-Man, the quite spiffy looking open world samurai game Ghost of Tsushima, and Death Stranding of course. Maybe Kojima will actually show us some gameplay this year. If not, well, at least my summary video of the whole shebang might not take so long to make this year. Although Sony could still surprise us with some new titles at the last minute. Like whatever From Software game this brief trailer was teasing at last year's Game Awards. Whether it's a Bloodborne sequel, a new Tenchu, or some sort of new puzzle game IP where you make stationery out of human bones and red string, we'll likely know for certain next month. Ah, now that's more like it. Stuff that we can reasonably expect to be at E3 but hasn't officially been confirmed or otherwise leaked by a retailer balls up, so we can still have some fun speculating about it. Let's get into a bit of that, shall we? Cyberpunk 2077 is a big one for me, obviously, unabashed Witcher and CD Projekt Red fanboy that I am. Ever since that initial reveal trailer with the cool song, I've been hankering to see, well, more of the game itself in general. Anything really. Concept art, more CGI, gameplay details. But those coy little lovelies at CDPR have been all coy and secretive. They won't even officially say, yes, we'll have Cyberpunk 2077 at E3 for you to gorpat and squee over, Matthew. Please stop sending these letters to us. All they've been willing to confirm is they'll be showing off, quote, an RPG for PlayStation 4, Xbox One and PC. I'm also looking forward to seeing something resembling DLC for PRE, another of my top games of 2017 that was rather underappreciated by the community at large. As well as dispensing periodic reminders that it's still active, the official PRE Twitter account earlier this year started tweeting blatant evidence that we, which is to say I and the 10 other PRE fans out there, can look forward to further mimic twatting fun times somewhere on the moon being unveiled on June the 10th. Assuming this PRE development team member holding a calendar with June 10th highlighted, the massive marker board at the back of the room with the word moon and a June 10th date written on it, and the fact Bethesda's E3 showcases on June 10th are anything to go by. Seeing some actual Bayonetta 3 footage beyond the short teaser we got at the Game Awards would also be nice, but I'm keeping my expectations low for that one. This video is becoming less of an E3 speculation video and more of a things Matt would like to see at E3 video. So let's close this off with a rumour that's pretty much been confirmed as bollocks, shall we? I'm talking of course about this list of totes real honest gov, I swear on me mum, Nintendo leaks posted by a user named Lazzyman on Game FAQs. The simple fact it was posted on Game FAQs pretty much says it all really, but let's have a laugh at it anyway, eh? Among Lazzyman's claims were that Nintendo were going to retire the Virtual Console brand, which they did. But then speculation of its imminent demise has been circulating for months, thanks partly to Nintendo's own reticence on the topic, not to mention its own official announcement of details about its paid online service last year. You know, the one that promised Netflix-style access to a library of classic Nintendo games and kind of makes a dedicated Virtual Console brand somewhat pointless. Another of Lazzyman's claims was that Nintendo's paid online service would offer dedicated voice chat via Discord. Good God, he didn't even try to make that one sound believable. Of course you're stuck using an app on your phone, tablet or similar device. This is Nintendo after all. Why use a pre-existing wheel when you can reinvent one that isn't as good? By the way, that particular claim wasn't even the least believable one. That particular honour goes to Lazzyman's mention of a new Fire Emblem game with the subtitle of Lustrous Daybreak. I could point out more holes and inconsistencies in this list, but I really don't need to. No, seriously, I really don't need to. Lazy Man eventually admitted the whole thing was a wind-up, which still didn't stop some people desperately wanting to believe. Bless them. So I guess the moral here is you really can't believe anything you hear about games at E3 until you sat down watching them on a live stream through a drunken haze with a notepad open on your second monitor and a half-empty bottle of booze in your hand while hurriedly tweeting sarcastic remarks about it. That's how I get through it. Your mileage may vary. So with that in mind, why not go hog wild, eh? Feel free to flood the comments below with your own thoughts, speculations and wish lists for E3 2018. I'm interested to see various people's hopes, expectations and skepticisms. Hell, make up some outright lies if you want. As long as they're not about a possible Dishonored 3. Seriously, don't tease me like that. It'd be mean. That's all for this speculative episode of Pixel Burn. If you liked it, then please do let me know by clicking the requisite button down below and letting your friends, family and Game FAQs posters know as well. At the very least, I hope you found it tolerable. You might also consider perhaps clicking the old subscribe button and maybe even that obnoxious little bell icon that's supposed to tell you whenever I've uploaded a video, but according to some people it only does it about half the time because YouTube. Or perhaps you really enjoy my videos, like all of the nice people kindly enough to pledge to my Patreon. 3 of them being Kethran, Soup and Cass Fireborn. All official lovely misfits whose support is humbly appreciated in more ways than I can find the words for. If you fancy joining them and becoming an even more beautiful misfit than you already are, pop on over to patreon.com/Bitscreed, where you can help the series become bigger, better and more regular for as little as $1 American or your regional equivalent. Meanwhile, thank you for watching and until next time, as always, you can go now.